Viewers, we're going to be focusing on a story that affects us all because it's about our history, our shared history. And if we don't have a firm understanding of our shared history, of our culture, then viewers, there are two things that can happen. One, we will not have a sense of our future. And secondly, viewers, we will be cast adrift without an identity in a massive sea where, viewers, we will be written over, painted over like we were for 1,000 years by at least 3 waves of settler colonialists. Viewers, there is a deep-seated bias in India against a certain set of historical figures. These champions of resistance against rule by oppressors have not been given their due. They were denied their due because they were not seen to be aligned to the outlook of a clique of historians and their political patrons. Let me give you an example. In the interest of appeasing a community or downplaying India's Hindu civilizational roots, this clique after independence spent a lot of time cataloguing the virtues uncritically of the Mughal Empire or the Delhi Sultanate or the life of Tipu Sultan. Viewers, so much so that movies were made, television serials were dedicated to the lives of these individuals. Nothing wrong with that, viewers. Nothing wrong with that. Go ahead, make movies, write their histories, but do it in a manner that is absolutely accurate and, viewers, portrays the truth with warts and all. Don't airbrush. But viewers, while this airbrushed history on all these were brought out, this clique did not give as much space to other ruling dynasties like the Marathas, Cholas, that represented a certain Indic civilizational value system. This clique ignored even individuals like Lochit Barfukan, Martanda Verma of Travancore, Devi Ahilya Bhai Holkar. Even modern day figures such as Savarkar, Hedgewar were ignored. Even events like the impact of the naval mutiny of 1946 or even the truth of the Mopila massacres have been glossed over. But viewers, should this clique be allowed to get away with writing a blinkered, sanitized history to suit a certain political agenda or narrative? That's the question we need to be asking. Why? Why today? Because, viewers, non-Congress icons of Bharat who have sacrificed in many ways to build our nation are being scrubbed out of history as we speak. The step is being taken by the newly elected Congress government in Karnataka. In the name of course correcting and desaffranizing the school syllabus, the Congress government in Karnataka has confirmed that within 2 weeks the chapter in class 10 textbooks on RSS founder Hedgewar is going to be axed. If not the chapter, viewers, then the portion. The Congress says that students don't need to be taught about a, quote, coward, unquote, who apologized repeatedly to the British. Listen in, viewers.
ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯವರಾಗಲಿ ಸಂಘ ಪರಿವಾರದವರಾಗಲಿ ಹೆಡ್ಗೆವಾರ್ ಅವರು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಪತ್ರ 6 ಬಾರಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಆದ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಚಿತ್ರಗುಪ್ತ ಅಂತ ಅವರೇ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಂಥ ರಣಹಿಡಿಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಪಠ್ಯಪುಸ್ತಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ.
Whatever is good for the unification of the country, for the unification of the nation, are something which needed to be inculcated in the young minds. Not glorifying those leaders or those icons who laid the foundation or who sowed the seeds of division in our country.
The BJP has done is try to infuse their ideological issues into textbooks, which is not correct. So Congress party will have to look at it very seriously and take corrective measures.
Now, viewers, you heard some of those Congress leaders saying that those individuals who sowed the seeds of division, were bigoted, or even promoted hate should not be, of course, taught to our children, or their lives should not be in any way encapsulated. Well, viewers, let's really look at the facts. Let's look at the facts. The BJP is, of course, lashing out at the Congress party, as is their wont, but let's ignore that reaction first. The trouble is that the Congress is not being fair to icons, Bharatiya icons, like Hedgewar. He was no coward or British bootlicker, as is being alleged. Now, let me take you through certain facts, viewers, and here on this show, you watch this show because facts have fans, viewers. And I always bring out the hard facts so that you can get closer to the truth. And you are armed with the right facts so that you can knock down, wherever you are, the fakery. So let's talk about Hedgewar. He was the member of the Anushilan Samiti, a revolutionary group of freedom fighters, viewers. Who says this? This is Triloknath Chakravarti's 30 years in jail, a book. And who could become a member of this revolutionary group of fighters, viewers? Only those who renounced their homes and families were entitled to take the vow. So sacrifice was necessary. He backed the Congress resolution for the Samparna Swatantraya. We, the Sangh, are immensely happy that Congress endorsed our goal of complete independence. It's our duty to cooperate with any organization working towards that goal. This is Hedgewar's own letter to the Sangh. Viewers, if people were writing this, how could they be cowards? This was seditious under the British. Viewers, he was part of the non-cooperation movement. That's right. As Secretary of Non-Cooperation Board, he effectively mobilized the youth. He took part in the movement and was jailed for 1 year for his speeches. So as per Dr. Rakesh Sinha, he was arrested for sedition, arrested by the British for sedition in 1921 during the non-cooperation movement. He pleaded his own case, refused to apologize, and then jailed for a year. These are the facts. These are hard facts, viewers. Go verify them if you don't believe me. But you have no reason not to believe me because, viewers, I'm not weighed down by baggage. Viewers, the paragraph that is being deleted from the textbooks, there's nothing objectionable about it. It is a paragraph, and there you can see it, viewers. This is from the textbook. It's only a paragraph, an excerpt from the works of Mr. Hedgewar's speech, cited in his book, RSS Thaptakara Chintanagalu Prerna. And it expounds on the role of those who should be adopted by society as worthy of reverence. Who should be a role model is what this particular passage in the textbooks talks about. How can that be objectionable, viewers? Viewers, this patriot has been tagged a coward by the Congress, and this characterization, labeling, etc., is part of a larger trend. Remember what the Congress has to say about another icon of Bharatiyata, Veer Savarkar or Vinayak Savarkar. Now, viewers, the Congress says that Savarkar compromised with British rule. The reality is he was jailed for 14 years for sedition by the British in Kala Pani, where he was tortured mercilessly, and anyone who has read a little bit about Kala Pani would know that it was really a dungeon of devilry. Viewers, the Congress says that Savarkar was a Maafi Veer, wrote mercy letters to the British. The reality is offered to trade his own freedom in exchange of others. A British stooge, not freedom fighter, says the Congress about Savarkar. Well, in 1933, he led a hunger strike in Kala Pani, allegedly chained and flogged in solitary confinement. Viewers, this person, this great son of India, has been eulogized even by Indira Gandhi. So while Savarkar and Hedgewar are being removed because of their parochialism, perceived parochialism by the Congress ecosystem, viewers, Tipu Sultan is hailed as a worthy figure. Aurangzeb is hailed as a worthy figure of study. Viewers, here is a little bit about Tipu Sultan. He wrote a letter to Burduz Khan, 19th January 1790. I have achieved a great victory in Malabar and over 4 lakh Hindus were converted to Islam. What was he preaching, viewers? Tolerance? No, he wasn't. I am overjoyed at the prospect of converting Raman Nair, Raja of Travancore, and his subjects to Islam. Viewers, this person was not a beacon of tolerance. He even wrote a letter to Abdul Dulai on the 18th of January 1790. With the grace of Allah, almost all Hindus in Calicut are now converted to Islam. Determined to convert the rest soon. But viewers, the Congress ecosystem eulogizes this man. Never told history in a balanced way. So we are all told to believe that he was a great reformer. He was a great freedom fighter. Of course, he might have been, viewers, he might have fought the British. But he might have also been doing it to advance the cause of Islam in the subcontinent. At least his letters seem to suggest this. He wrote to Runmust Khan, we carried off Kurgis, raised them to honor of Islam and incorporated them into our Ahmadi corps. Look at what has been said about Aurangzeb. Owaisi, Akbaruddin Owaisi, prayed at Aurangzeb's Mazar in May 2022. But what did Aurangzeb do, viewers? He was out there trying to demolish symbols of Hindu civilization. He raised the Keshav Dev Mandir, built an Eidgah mosque there. He destroyed the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Viewers, even the Trimbakeshwar Jyotirlinga was raised by Aurangzeb in 1680 AD, and a mosque was built there. These people were no, viewers, unapologetic secularists. Yet they find a mention. I want to open this up and I want to ask some basic questions tonight, viewers, and I want to begin first with Tehseen Poonawalla. Mr. Poonawalla, just a few days ago, the Congress party, you yourself were on this show. You were extremely upset that portions of our history with regards to the Mughals, etc., were being removed, rationalized from textbooks. Now here is the Congress in Karnataka doing exactly the same. And not just that, the reasons that are being given by the Congress party are not founded in fact either. So I'm asking you, should India only learn about those icons who are aligned to the Congress ecosystem, who the Congress thinks should be respected? Forget the others.
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you for having me on the show. I, for one, believe absolutely that there should be no censorship. I'm against censorship. I in fact feel very strongly that the RSS and Hedgewar ji and Golwalkar ji must be taught. It must be taught so the new generation realizes what a big mistake these organizations were. How these organizations celebrated by distributing sweets at the death of Mahatma Gandhi. How Hedgewar, who you rightly said 1921 went to jail on sedition charges and fought while he was fighting for independence, was then a member of Congress, but when he came out of jail, formed an RSS, an organization that literally in every single time, along with the Hindu Mahasabha, formed alliances with the Jinnah's Muslim League to keep the Congress out of power. How they backstabbed Mahatma Gandhi in the Quit India movement. How Golwalkar's speeches led to hatred against Gandhi. My grandfather, who served Gandhi while Gandhi was in prison in Pune, the Aga Khan Palace, was one of them when Gandhi had multiple attempts on his life by Godse and Apse. This is and I'm not saying that Godse and Apse were members of the RSS, but they definitely had the ideology of the Hindu Mahasabha and the RSS. This was an organization that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel banned, and Rajendra Prasad on 12th December 1948 wrote to Nehru and Vallabhbhai Patel that this is a secretive, violent organization that uses violence to spread its means.
Can I ask you a counter question, sir?
I'm asking you one last slide. May I ask you one last slide? Where is the RSS registered today? It's an unregistered organization. How does it get money? And the Congress has grieved in not investigating it.
Can I ask you a small question today, sir? This great championing of balance in historical capturing our history is very welcome from you, Tehseen Poonawalla. But should we also write about Nehru, when he, as the head of an unelected assembly, decided to fetter our free speech? Why isn't that, if we are talking about balanced history, truthful history? For example, why isn't that there? Or should we not talk about, let me finish, about Nehru, who tried to prevent our first president from attending a very, very important consecration of a very important temple called the Somnath Temple.
I'm glad you brought up the Somnath.
No, forget. I'm just taking a couple of examples.
Nehruji,
excuse me, I'm not finished. Tehseen Poonawalla.
Please.
In the interest of a balanced history, why was then Pranab Mukherjee attacked by the Congress when he visited the RSS headquarters if it was such a unregistered, baleful organization spreading all sorts of horrible hate? Why did Pranab Mukherjee, the tallest leader in the Congress party that doesn't belong to the family of self-appointed guardians of the Congress, why was he criticized for by the Congress? If you are so attached to recording history with fidelity, why not recognize? Why was Indira Gandhi writing such lengthy letters in praise of Savarkar? Why? Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, if that is the case.
May I answer that?
No, let me just ask you. Let me just ask you.
Sure, may I answer that?
Why wasn't it banned if it was not a registered organization between 2004 and 2014? Why was it not banned by the UPA? Why were the bans in fact revoked by your Sambandhi's great-great-grandfather? Tell me.
So let me answer each one of them. The fact that you can pull out the flaws of Nehruji shows that history is balanced. And there are a lot of flaws that Nehruji had. But Nehruji was the greatest prime minister.
No, one second, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla. You're saying he's the greatest prime minister. No, hang on.
Along with Dr. Manmohan Singh.
No, 1 second.
Now let me give you the
one second. No, just 1 second. No, I just
Nehruji was responsible for the Somnath Temple.
No, you're not responding to the question I asked you.
Nehruji was responsible for Somnath Temple being constructed.
I'm only asking. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. You're distorting the historical record. It was the great efforts of 1 second, sir, of Kripalani ji.
Yes.
Of great nationalists, of great...
Like Kripalani ji, Patel
no, 1 second. There was no... Listen, Mr. Nehru is on record to have... Mr. Nehru
changed the cabinet.
Sir, please. Now, you can shout over me. You will not allow me
to...
Let's
put facts out.
I'm putting the facts out. Should I read out what Mr. Nehru has said?
Sir, should I read out
about the construction of the Somnath Temple? I will do it right now. Just give me 2 minutes. I will pull up. Why are you speaking over me, Tehseen Poonawalla? I'm not speaking over you. Why are you so agitated? Calm down.
Not at all, sir. You speak.
No, what is the problem? You want to
I'm
dominate?
just
Please
saying
go ahead.
Nehruji was responsible for Somnath temple being constructed. That's a historical fact. He chaired the cabinet. He asked Gadgilji to be in charge. Gadgilji was PWD minister. And he told Gadgilji that please assist Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. It was of course built by a trust because the government should not be building temples. Like this government is not building the Ram temple, it's built by a trust. But like Modi ji gets credit for this Ram temple, rightly so, the Somnath temple, the cabinet was chaired by Nehru ji. Yes, there were differences on what a country should do, should not do. I'm not disputing them. But Nehru and Patel's differences were in the open. And that's what makes Nehru ji such a great leader. That's what it is. And that's what this country owes a debt to.
No, Rahul, we are not here to hear this.
No,
Nehru
you can
lesson.
respond. Let the BJP respond. Why don't you respond, sir? Anyone that is associated with the Sangh or anyone associated with the BJP was a coward, not worthy of being held up. This is what the Congress is saying.
See, this clearly tells you what is the ideological differences between the BJP and the Congress. We are inclusive. We have given space to everyone who has made a contribution in the building of New India, in the building of modern India, while the Congress party wants to only indulge in psychopathy that Tehseen has been shouting for the last 10 minutes. This family psychopathy. Should the lessons also teach how Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was deprived of becoming the Prime Minister of the country, how Nehru was imposed as the Prime Minister when the majority of the Congress leaders were not in his favor? Should the lessons also teach about the character of Mr. Nehru and his personal relations with certain people? So I think this is what history tells you. Daughter of Edwina, this is what she has to say about Mr. Nehru and his personality. Should we be teaching it? I think you want everything to be projected only for one family, and you have denied space to all stalwarts, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel included, Dr. Ambedkar included. Subhash Chandra Bose was spied upon. He was not given his pride of place. The so-called great Nehru was vengefully after Dr. Ambedkar and got him defeated in Lok Sabha elections. He didn't want to see him in parliament. And today, when they get a chance to come back to power in one state, all that they have to do, the whole agenda that they have is to remove certain lessons or paragraphs from the textbooks of school children. This is height of intolerance. The mindset of the Congress party continues to be, they want to impose.
Well, let me just
want to impose psychopathy on the.
I get what you're saying.
They want this to be.
Let's open this up.
Dynasty.
Let's open this up. So you're saying that we cannot have a situation where the Congress party only wants to include a version of history that is compatible with their outlook. That's what you're basically saying. G.V. Narasimha Rao, okay, let's throw this open. And I just want to very quickly, viewers, take you through something. This is what Nehru told Rajendra Prasad ji. I confess to you, unlike the idea of you associating yourself with a spectacular opening of the Somnath temple, this is not merely visiting a temple, which can certainly be done by you or anyone else, but rather participating in a significant function which unfortunately has a number of implications. What implications, viewers? What are the implications, Ratan Sharda ji, that Nehru is alluding to? The implication that we had a Hindu past, that we were a Hindu civilization at some point in time before being overrun and marauded?
See, Rahul, Nehruji had a very split kind of personality. If you read his Discovery of India, when he talks about glory of this ancient land, he would speak of everything but never use the word Hindu. He used word only Hindu when he wanted to castigate the Hindu society about casteism or other issues. Whether you talk of Takshashila, whether you talk of Nalanda or Harappa, he would have strange notions. He once said in the Discovery of India that by all means Harappa civilization was a secular civilization. At that moment in time, 6,000 years back, I do not know what was secular about Harappan civilization and why I could not identify the yogi figures and all the figures of Hindu pantheon are still there. Point one. that he had an aversion. He said, I get very disturbed when I see the murtis in South. I can look at Buddha, but I feel very uncomfortable when I look at the images of murtis of those gods in southern temples. But I don't want to get into this Nehru and all that. See, Tehseen tried to divert the entire debate. I am not. First of all, the basic issue why they are against Dr. Hedgewar is that Congress has a very fascist, intolerant, narrow world view where it feels that if they talk of any other person's contribution to national freedom, it impinges upon them. That is the kind of inferiority complex they have. That is the reason, if you see last year, this government has brought out such wonderful freedom fighters, faceless freedom fighters, and this freedom didn't start in 19th century when Gandhiji or somebody else arrived. It started much earlier, right from 1857, and the continuous sustained, freedom movement of every type, whether revolutionaries, whether the rousing nationalism of Swami Vivekanand, or other reformers of Hindu society, all these parallel strands of freedom movement were there. But we have been taught continuously that this is only a celebration of some urban elite class of people who created this non-violent movement, and that is what resulted in freedom.
Okay.
But slowly that is coming off. Secondly, so this fight is not about Dr. Hedgewar. Dr. Hedgewar does not need any publicity. For 70 years, what Tehseen is saying is already being taught in the schools. Despite this, Hindutva is progressing. It has become a central pole of politics. It has become the central pole of India's consciousness. That is what Dr. Hedgewar wanted. So he has succeeded in doing that. Now, whether you take him in the book or not, this intolerance for anything apart from Congress,
but there is a hypocrisy.
Netaji also
there is a hypocrisy.
The same thing. And look, they did it in MP. They did it in
Mr.
Rajasthan.
Sardar, isn't there a hypocrisy?
Huge hypocrisy.
Well, okay. So let me ask a question, and let's ask a very simple question. I'll go back to Tehseen Poonawalla and Dr. Raman. Please listen in, because I'll come straight out to you. I'll play the role of a little bit of a quiz master. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you a general knowledge question. Can you tell me which Mughal king succeeded Jahangir? Shah Jahan. Can you tell me, sir, in the Cholan dynasty, Rajendra Chola was followed by who?
Rajendra Chola was followed. I know Rajendra Chola won, right? Because there are a couple of.
That's the problem.
You see, that's the problem, viewers. Now, Dr. Suman Raman,
no, I'm not.
Why is it that we know?
History.
Why is it that we know? See, I began by asking a very simple question. The emphasis
Rahul,
on certain dynasties, on certain people to build a narrative that you see India was this inclusive, great place to appease certain communities. You gave a sense of history which was loaded in their favor. So I want to ask you, Doctor, why is it that we can by heart tell you the names of 7 generations of Mughal kings, but have a problem talking about the Cholas, the Pandyas, or several other dynasties? How is it that we didn't know about Lachit Borphukan? Do you know a little bit about him?
Okay. Yeah.
No, who was Lachit Borphukan?
Rajendra Chola was succeeded by his
Rajendra Chola.
No, I know that he was a person who fought in the Raja won. Okay, he fought in Assam, and there was a bit of a battle which I have read about in the past.
So
yes, I don't know.
Mughals.
The point is the Cholas go back 1,000 years. No. The Cholas go back 1,000 years.
Viewers, I've just asked a very basic question. I've just asked a basic question, and look at the
300 years. I do not know. It's not possible for.
Now let me tell you, viewers, one thing that you don't know about Dr.
There is no need to be
that
apologetic.
people don't know about Dr. Raman.
Apologetic.
That Dr. Raman is a
What you should
quizmaster
have
himself.
done. What?
And the quizmaster who asks all these general knowledge questions.
And I did answer the question on Rajendra Chola, who is from my
no,
state.
So let me tell you, sir.
I did answer the question on Rajendra Chola, who is from my state.
No, Rajendra Chola was followed by, one second, Rajendra Chola was followed by whom, sir?
Rajendra Chola too, Baba.
I'm asking you, Baba, don't do Baba. I'm asking you, Rajendra Chola was followed by who?
1 second.
Doctor. Rajendra too.
Chola was
That is not the
Rajaraja
point.
Chola was
Point is
followed by
that
Rajendra.
I'm giving you the answer.
Raja Chola
First.
Even I don't know all of this. Even I don't know all of this, viewers. And the only reason I'm asking this question is to bring out a certain fact.
I come from that state.
I'm sir glad. I salute you. If I were to ask Monojit Mondol, he would not know.
I don't know what you asked about Mr. He would have answered about Fukan. Of course he would have answered.
Okay, he would have answered. You
That's
see,
the problem,
everyone
sir.
is asked. No, hang on. Viewers, this is so strange.
That's the point.
Composite history will not be taught in this country.
Where did we start? Where
You
did
see,
we start
viewers,
this
we
debate?
pick, okay.
This debate
we
was
pick,
started
we pick, no, one
about
second. Dr.
Hedgewar.
Raman, I'm only asking you a question.
One second.
Tipu Sultan's history in our textbooks was so
I ask-
sanitized, that we did not know, for example, about his butchery of Hindus, about his mass conversion episodes. We didn't know. You might have known, sir, because maybe after school you read up a little bit. Maybe you're a curious mind. Maybe you wanted to frame some piercing questions in your quiz shows.
No.
Okay.
If the number of non-Muslim kings who carried out massacres is also long, including those who killed members of their own family to succeed to the throne.
Sir.
It was the
But we
practice.
don't
in
glorify
Who was the
those days.
sixth Maratha
I'm
king?
sorry, I think we are not
Dr. Raman, who
understanding.
was the sixth
In
Maratha
fact,
king?
Who
was the sixth Maratha king?
I am not getting into this.
You are not getting into it because that's the whole point.
For a debate on Hedgewar.
We
and
all
I'm
know,
going to
whether
tell
you're
you,
living in Kashmir or
I don't
Kanyakumari,
need
who
to.
the
I don't
seven
need to. I
Mughal
will not.
emperors were.
Why should I? Why
And
should
we
I do
reel
it?
them off. You see, viewers, this is the point
No,
I'm making.
that is,
okay.
look,
Let me bring in. Let me bring in.
you have
Let me bring in
removed the Mughal
Tushar
emperors
Gupta.
from the
Tushar
text.
Gupta, am I making a
They
frivolous
ruled the
point
whole
here?
of India.
Am I debasing this
They
debate?
ruled the whole of India, or most of India.
Right, sir. They rule all of India. They
most
rule
of
whole of
India,
India. So we
that's
must
it.
know
That is why
their
you
names
are-
by heart.
Glad.
Most of India. Most of India.
Tushar Gupta, tell me. Tushar Gupta, tell me.
Please forget.
Am I making
you have
this
removed them
debate?
from textbooks, Rahul?
Am I making this debate frivolous? Or am I actually trying to get at a fact of history?
Absolutely not, Rahul. What you're doing,
Yeah. Please tell me.
Rahul, what you're doing is called a litmus test. For long, people have said, oh no, the Mughal Empire is not over-glorified in school textbooks. But with one litmus test, with one question to the panel, you've proved them all wrong. Indeed, the Mughal Empire is forced upon the students of this country for absolutely no reason. Across state boards where the students should be learning their respective states' history, and in CBSE where they should be learning an array of leaders and an array of empires, they are just focused on one. You know, the BJP cannot fault the Congress for tampering with the history books in Karnataka, because leave it to the Congress, the story of Indian civilization will start with the first battle of Panipat in 1526. Leave it to the Congress, the independent India history will start with Jawaharlal Nehru and end with Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. Now, since Tehseen says that we owe a great amount of debt to Jawaharlal Nehru, I have a few, points to make. Politics is subjective, Rahul. Politics conclusions are subjective. Economic conclusions are not. He says we owe a great debt to Nehru as a prime minister. For what, Rahul? For PL 480, where we were importing food grains from America, living from shipment to shipment? For putting our economy on the path of heavy industry investment, which stifled all the small industries and ensured that we never become an export booming economy? For putting our economy on the path where 3 decades later, Rajiv Gandhi would stand up and say that there is absolutely nothing we can do for financial and social inclusion. अरे 1 रुपया निकलता है, 85 पैसे कहीं खो जाते हैं. किस बात का debt? My problem is not that you're eliminating some people and adding some. That is very much expected of the Congress, because they like to decide who's the coward in the Indian civilization, who is not. Anyone who warms up to the Congress party, agrees with their ideals and principles, becomes a braveheart. Anyone who challenges their legacy becomes a coward and therefore needs to be removed from the history books. My problem is that we're not discussing the complete facts. Be it the Mughal Empire, be it the Nehru dynasty, be it Indira Gandhi, be it Rajiv Gandhi, be it the UPA 1 and 2. We are not discussing the complete facts.
Okay. Let me bring in Monojit Mondol. Mr. Mondol, let me bring the argument back to brass tacks. Let me ask you, why should these icons of our history, like Hedgewar, be removed? Why should he be removed?
No, I think this actually has been started by BJP when they wanted to distort the history of India by only incomplete reading of history. Like if you want to read Savarkar, fine, but you read both the lives of Savarkar, before 1910 and after 1910, when he was apparently becoming quote-unquote a betrayer. But before 1910, he was definitely one of the great nationalists of all time, and everyone knows his contribution to the history of Indian national movement. But we need to have a structured methodology for doing it, Rahul. And this methodology, the problem in this country is that is always decided by the ruling dispensation and not by the academicians. There lies the core problem, I think. We need to have a proper method of writing or even revisiting history. If you want to do that, fine, do it. But it should be done by the people who are having absolutely objective idea of history. It doesn't mean that when I'm saying this doesn't mean that the Nehruvian trends of history, they were absolutely objective. They were not. Of course they were not. But again, in the name of changing that Nehruvian trend of history, what you are infusing is not history either. You are excavating certain facts which are largely fictional. I mean, there lies the problem. It's either their side or my side, where at the moot point is the actual history is becoming casualties. Like they were talking about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, there so many glorious things about Netaji, but what actually they have done with Netaji?
Okay.
How many of Indians actually remember the birthday of the national poet of India? Rabindranath Tagore.
Once again, gentlemen, don't speak over each other.
Bengal. You only celebrate during the election.
Why are you speaking over each
other?
other?
There lies the problem.
Okay.
When you want to celebrate
let me viewers first of all put things in perspective.
They should be celebrated with equal veneration.
Okay, now you see viewers, what do you do when certain very noted historians...
The rear view mirror, Rahul.
One second, Dr. Raman, 1 second. I can't hear you. You're speaking over Monojit Mondo.
Rear view mirror, always, Rahul. That's what Rahul Gandhi said. No, I'm just saying we are always looking in the rear view mirror. Aurangzeb, Tipu Sultan, Savarkar, going back further and further. Of course, Nehru, but a whole lot.
Is that not history going back?
I don't know the point you're making. It seems, well, let me tell you.
Rewriting history.
1 second.
Rewriting history.
No, why?
1 second. Do you believe, viewers, that the Congress has not...
rewriting books
Okay, Dr.
all over
Raman.
the country.
Dr. Raman, 1 second. Look, you may be an authority.
Rahul. Congress's entire politics, entire marketing campaigns are based on Nehru, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, and Rahul Gandhi will sit and tell people of India that you should not be looking in the
Okay, let me tell you, viewers, on the point. Okay, Ratan Sharda wants to ask a couple of questions.
Professor Monojit Mandal, I have just 2 questions. Does he remember that R.C. Majumdar was given the job of writing history of freedom struggle and he had to resign? And a new so-called historian is included, and still Mr. R.C. Majumdar went on to write the most magnum opus for freedom struggle, but he was eliminated from the official government body. Why? Secondly, in Bengal, he will remember there was a time when Marxist government removed all the references to Mughal atrocities. There was a committee formed by Monojit standard, very objective historical study, who said, remove this particular sentence Ashuddho, make a new sentence which is Shuddho, which basically also sanitize Aurangzeb. Do you stand by those both the cases I pointed out? Tell me simply. RSS maybe you're dumb, they don't know what is history. You know history, you know R.C. Majumdar, you know Nehru, you know Marxist history rewriting. You agree with his history rewriting of Marxist in Bengal itself?
Absolutely.
You are from Bengal?
That's what I say.
He said,
That's what I
okay,
said.
so Monojit Mondol is taking an enlightened view, but there is one point. one point where he says, and
That's
it's
what
an
I say,
important
that
point.
Whoever is in power,
Okay, one
will
second.
determine writing of history. There lies the problem.
That's right. Winner takes all approach. Okay, fair enough. Monojit Mondol, I just want to say anything. You said, well, let's leave it to the professionals, the historians. What if there are distorians who are actually, unfortunately, furthering the cause of the ruling dispensation? What if there are some very notable ones who come out and even deny that there was something called the Hindu philosophical tradition? And there are some extremely...
Rahul, as
one second, Monojit Mondol, one second. My problem is, and I began by saying, if you remember the words I began by saying that there are some governments, some political parties that have revised our history, but they don't do it alone. They do it because they patronize certain individuals who are alloyed to their outlook. Now, let me give you an example. And this is very important. This is an India Today article, September 13, 2004. From the day it assumed power, the Congress sought to purge government posts and institutions the BJP taint, quote unquote. It threw out 4 governors citing their RSS affiliation. Then Union HRD Minister Arjun Singh wrote to the Prime Minister urging him to get rid of RSS-friendly appointees in government. The ICHR was overhauled. Former NCRT Director J.S. Rajput was not just shown the door, but UNESCO was told not to award him a medal because inquiries were pending against him. Arjun also found time, this is Arjun Singh, to charge the RSS with complicity in the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. Not only this, viewers, but let me tell you that in 2004-05, Meenakshi Jain's works were cancelled from the new curriculum after the UPA came to power. And historians who shared in their beliefs and belief systems were appointed. We can't even trust today, viewers, the academics, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part. So my point is, viewers, my point is, we should not expunge anything from our record. We should actually go into further details.
Who must be recognized for doing
manage
this
it
job.
Like Saraswati River research has been done. Why would I stop?
Unfortunately, in both the cases,
he's taken an enlightened view.
Monojit
Mondol, for the first time, I agree with you. He's taken an enlightened view.
Great. There is the problem.
But let's viewers, let's get out of this trap of recrimination,
like who are writing history right now?
Point scoring.
We see them on TV at times.
Of reversing. Okay. Monojit Mondol, it's okay. I understand. Professor, I understand what you're saying. We've got your drift.
Who's rewriting NCRT books?
Well, one second. Dr. Sumansi Raman, those NCRT books that we read out.
Stupid, idiot.
Who removed Nehru's
you are
references in Rajasthan school textbooks?
You are doing away with the scientific
Okay, gentlemen, I need to close this debate. Too much crosstalk. I need to shut down this debate. We need to move on to another important but pressing subject, viewers. Let me just quickly sum up. The problem is that we have to rescue history from those that purport today to record it. That's where we are at. Who can rise above parochial political interests and play the role of the statesman historian, viewers, is what we need to know. Are there any people out there? That's the fundamental question. I leave it at this.